Hello there, midlife ladies. So excited to be able to be covering this topic today for this Wellness Wednesday. We are going to be talking about alcohol. I am asked this question so often. Kim, can I have a drink? And the reality is, the answer to most questions is yes and no, right? I like to really help women be able to connect to an inwardly driven motivation versus an outwardly driven motivation. So, an outwardly driven motivation looks like this: I should eat this, I should not eat that. That's an outwardly driven motivation. And really, it leads to people feeling like they're being deprived, they're sacrificing. If they have a little bit of a rebellious streak in them, like I do, maybe they even really kind of are driven towards wanting a cheat day, to feel like there is a day where they can just indulge. So all of these things are really not helpful psychologically. So what I like to do is really allow for women to be aware. Okay, so there's a difference between saying, beware of this, like, don't do this, beware, it's not good for you, or beware, science says you should not do this, right? There's a big difference between beware and be aware. Right? Be aware of what your body is telling you when you do choose to do that. Be aware of how your actions are affecting your body, maybe even what sort of consequences that you're going to be experiencing, so you can choose when your body is really primed for dealing with the consequences versus not primed for dealing with the consequences. For an example, if somebody feels like their immune system is really compromised, maybe that's not a great day to go and have a glass of wine, right? But if somebody is feeling strong, well rested, well nourished, then perhaps that might be a better day, right? Be aware of the outcomes you are looking to experience. So if you are looking to lose fat, lose weight, and that's the outcome you're looking to do, just knowing that we're going to talk about the fact that alcohol is a key component of fat gaining, not fat losing. So if you're looking to lose a little bit of fat or lose a little bit of weight, and you're looking to do that, just being honest with yourself that when you're consuming the alcohol, it is going to be going counter or against what your ultimate goal is. So just being aware of that, right? Be aware of your desire to have fun and enjoy things too, right? Like if you are at a beautiful restaurant, the sun is setting, it's a celebratory moment, it's a romantic evening, and you want to have a glass of wine with that beautiful, spectacular, over-the-top dinner. I want you to be aware of the fact that when you're doing that, you're choosing to do it. You're not cheating to do it. You're choosing to do it, being fully aware of what is happening inside your body. I want you to be aware to really find the lifestyle that you love, that is a broad spectrum of experiences, that is in alignment with the desired wellness outcomes that you're looking to have, right? So with all of that in mind, I'm going to take us back to the topic that we're going to talk about today, which is alcohol. If you love a good glass of wine or drink at a party, and you have wellness goals that you're looking to achieve as well, if you say to yourself, 100%, I am not going to have alcohol, great, that is absolutely fine. If that is something that you can do, awesome. But no matter what, unless you've made that 100% commitment in your mind, every time there's an opportunity to have a glass of wine, every time there's an opportunity to go out and celebrate, every single one of those will be a struggle of choice. And so let's go ahead and take a peek at, if you're not 100% person, what awareness factors you want to be able to have as you're making your decisions along the way, right? I hope this empowers you, inspires you to make choices that feel like they're really serving you well. So we're going to talk about being aware of some alcohol facts, being aware of calories, being aware of carbohydrate cravings, how to choose a drink, and if you do choose to drink alcohol, what supporting supplements would be really wise for you to support your body with, okay? So first of all, alcohol facts. When you drink alcohol, it is seen by the body as something called ethanol. Now, ethanol, when you have ethanol in your body, there is a red alarm bell that goes off in your body. This is now the highest priority to metabolize. This is a toxin, a poison of the highest degree recognized by the body, and it will take time and energy to metabolize it all the way through its cycle so that it gets to the point where it's water and CO2. Now, typically that metabolizing process takes about 90 minutes per alcoholic drink. So if you're having more than one alcoholic drink per 90 minutes, then it is by its nature overwhelming the body, which, if that's what you choose, that's what you choose. But just be aware of the fact that while you're doing this, there's a necessary part of your body. It's called NAD. Well, your body produces this, I should say. And NAD is required to produce the energy to take this high priority ethanol and process it through to its non-toxic level of water and CO2. Now, NAD is also required by the brain to take glucose and transform it into ATP, which is energy that the brain needs in order to be able to function. So when we are consuming alcohol, or ethanol as the body calls it, and that NAD is being high priority, red alarm belled, dedicated to transitioning ethanol through to its harmless form, then the brain actually has less access to the NAD to be able to produce its own energy. That is a really important thing for you to know. Okay, we're going to talk about how to solve that a little bit later and what one of the repercussions of that is, right? The brain's kind of an important organ. Now, the other thing that happens, this is only the second, and it'll be the final geeky, sciencey terms that I'm going to throw at you. When we are consuming alcohol and we go through this metabolic process, it is producing something called oxidative stress, otherwise known as free radical damage in our body. Now, oxidative stress is the foundation to every age-related symptom. Now, I don't know about you, but me as a midlife woman, I want to be very aware of what age increasing things I'm exposing my body to, right? Or allowing my body to protect itself from oxidative stress. So NAD and oxidative stress, those are the two things that we'll talk about at the end of this video in order to give you two simple supplemental tips that will allow for you to protect your body from some of the harmful effects of alcohol consumption. That there are a number of them, but sometimes we just want a good glass of wine, right? So also we just want that social, that fun experience. Maybe it's a reward or a treat. Now, it is not recommended that women drink more than one drink a day. That's it. So if you're drinking more than that, and maybe even as routinely as that, then just know that that can be a very influential lifestyle choice over your health, your longevity, and your body composition. Okay, so if you're frustrated that you're not losing weight, this is 100% a component of it. Okay. But if you do, you're looking for that reward, that treat, knowing how much and how often. If somebody were to say, I'm going to have a glass of wine on Friday night, well, that won't have as much of an impact as if you say to yourself, I have 5 glasses of wine on Friday night, and then 2 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. And gosh, it's now Monday and I'm so sad because I had lost weight. Now I'm looking at the scale and I've gained it all back. Just know, just be aware that is probably the reason. Okay. And if you're okay with that, be okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, know that you have influence over your choices in this area. Now, when we drink alcohol, because it's a red alarm, high priority, got to get it out of the body sort of priority for metabolizing, when we're drinking alcohol, our body's also turning off metabolizing all the rest of our food. So it's taking all of our other food, our nutrients, our carbohydrates, our fats, our proteins, and it says, we have a high priority over here, that this ethanol, let's take all the other stuff and just shove it into fat cells. We'll deal with it later. So just know that is the case. When you are having a glass of wine, if you're eating it with a really heavy meal, then that's a really heavy amount of food that is now being swung into and through its normal metabolic cycle. It's bypassing its normal metabolic cycle and it's being shoved right into storage to deal with later. Okay, so if you are going to be drinking alcohol, thinking about it from the perspective of what am I going to complement? What kinds of food am I going to complement it with, right? Am I going to complement it with a really heavy meal or maybe a light, easy to digest snack? Okay, and also it's important to recognize if you're drinking a cocktail, what sort of cocktail you are having it with. When I go to the restaurants, because I do love a glass of wine, I do love a cocktail, I'll run my finger down the menu and look at all the cocktails items, and any of them that say simple syrup, which is 95% of them. It's crazy when you look for it. Any of them that say simple syrup, I do not choose, because it means that there's basically a big healthy dollop of sugar that it's being mixed with, okay? Or any of them that have like fruit juices, that's a big healthy dollop of sugar that it's being mixed with. We'll talk about what things might be a better choice for it, but just realize that that confuses our metabolism. If you are trying to chase a rabbit itself is kind of all over the place. And you go to and you grab the rabbit and you're like, oh, I gotcha. But what if you had to chase 2 rabbits? If the body is already trying to deal with this red alarm bell, ethanol problem, then putting in too many other things for it to have to deal with is just not going to make it as efficient as it can possibly be, right? So calories are also a concern if you have wellness goals around weight loss or fat loss. As a midlife woman, we're talking about, resetting our metabolism. Ethanol is higher in calories than even a carbohydrate. So a carbohydrate usually has about 4 calories per gram. Ethanol has about 7. And not only that, but they're empty calories. They're liquid calories. So you're not getting some of the components of food that would allow for you to feel satisfied. So it's so easy to just slip back an extra glass of wine, right? Because there's no fats in it, there's no proteins in it. It's not satisfying any sort of any sort of fullness about it. So we all know how easy it can be to share a bottle of wine, and those 3, 4 extra glasses of wine. If a glass of wine is about 130 calories, right? There's about 500 extra calories. Now, it takes an additional 3,500 calories in a week in order to increase your pound of fat. But a pina colada is over 500 calories. So if over the course of a weekend, there's some recreational drinking, it's not so far off that not only could you add on additional fat, but we also know just because of the inflammatory action of alcohol, the increase of oxidative stress, you can also be increasing inflammation levels as well. So that's a little bit of an awareness. A shot of vodka is around 70 calories. So just kind of thinking about it mathematically, if you were to choose to drink, how much would you like to drink mathematically, as well as what kinds of alcohol you would like to drink are really important to consider. And then carbohydrates, right? We already said that when NAD is being used to metabolize alcohol in that red alarm bell important sort of a way, that our brain is, it's saying it's hungry and it's causing cravings and some munching. We can do a lot of unaware munching when we are under the influence of alcohol, partly because we're not in our full faculties if we've drank too much alcohol, but partly because our brain is saying, hey, I would like a little extra energy here. Can you do a little munching and give me a little energy? So it's a good idea to be able to increase your NAD levels again if you are consuming alcohol, so that your brain still has NAD available to it to be able to translate that glucose, which comes from carbohydrates, into its energy form, which is called ATP. So that's good to be aware of. Also, again, all of those simple syrups, sodas, all of those things just really add additional sugar to the mix. And drinking alcohol really hammers our sugar regulation system. Our sugar regulation system is guided by a hormone called insulin. And insulin, as we reach our midlife, we become more insulin resistant. So our blood sugar is not as easily regulated. And when we are consuming excess carbohydrates, say, as an example with those simple syrups, or say, as an example, with a sweet wine or a beer, those in themselves, even if you're not snacking, our blood sugar spiking. And when blood sugar spikes in our midlife metabolism, it has an impact on other hormones as well. And this is a time of life where we want to have hormone regulation, not hormone deregulation. So we'll talk about what alcohols might be a better carbohydrate level to choose when you are drinking. So number one, the alcohol with the least amount of calories, the least amount of carbohydrates by themselves are distilled alcohols, the vodka, the whiskey, the gin, the tequila. Okay, so clean alcohol in this category is considered by health experts to be the best if you are going to be able to drink alcohol. But when it comes to those distilled alcohols, it's really important to think about the mixers and the flavors, right? So cutting out the simple syrups, cutting out the sodas, and really having your alcohol flavored with things like seltzer water that has no sugars in it, lemon and lime, just kind of like a spritz of the fruit or some other crushed fruit, just making it so that it's as healthy as possible for something that is not healthy. Okay. Also, if you're going to choose beer, it's not even on here because I do not recommend beer, but if you're going to choose beer, then you want to choose something that is low carb and ideally gluten-free. Because not only is your body, even if you don't consider yourself to be gluten intolerant, that just means that you're not suffering the consequences. You're not aware of suffering the consequences of ingesting wheat, but the majority of human beings are gluten intolerant on some level, and it does disrupt our gut quite a bit. It causes inflammation. So, there's it's no surprise that we call a larger belly on a man a beer belly. It's not a coincidence. So I don't recommend beers, but if you are going to drink a beer, then I recommend a low carbohydrate for the reasons that we discussed before, gluten-free beer, because the gluten will cause even more inflammation and gut dysregulation. So that would be your beer choice, but it's not even on here, right? So it's not one of the things that I would recommend. And if you're going to have wine, really choosing a dry wine, like a champagne, surprisingly enough, is quite low in carbohydrates, even though it tastes relatively sweet, right? A Cabernet or a Merlot are great red wine choices. A Chardonnay is a great white wine choice. So there's a good amount of diversity that you can choose from. And you can even just Google search, carbohydrate levels in wines, and you'll find that both the carbohydrate level as well as the calorie level, it's about 130 calories for a glass of wine versus a cocktail, which can be hundreds of calories per drink. And then this is an image of the Protandim NAD and Protandim NRF2. Both of them are all natural formulas. And although I use the word supplement here, they're actually not a supplement. They're considered an activator. And what I mean by that is a supplement is something that your body is missing. And so you take it, you consume it so that your body now has it, something from the outside that you add to the inside. Well, this is actually a support activator versus a supplement. It's all natural formulas that basically are activating, are reminding the body to do what it knows how to do. As an example, our body produces glutathione. The glutathione is just a fancy term that says it's a master antioxidant enzyme. Antioxidant means anti-oxidative stress, right? So it's reducing inflammation, it's reducing the foundation for age-related symptoms, reducing the foundation for illness as a whole, and helping your body be able to deal with the red alarm bell metabolizing of alcohol in your body. All right. So I actually, it's the Protandim NRF2 that reminds your body to produce its own glutathione. Taking this every day is an excellent thing for midlife women to do if you are invested in staving off age-related symptoms. It actually activates hundreds of genes inside your DNA called survival genes. The name implies how important they are. And it has wide spanning effects on how we can really maintain our cellular integrity, look our best, feel our best, perform our best. So it's a very important component. It's not very expensive. And if you would like to take a peek, full disclosure, I have been in love with this product line for now over a decade now. And so, like, a full disclosure, I do have an affiliate relationship with this company. I like people to know that straight up, but I only have an affiliate relationship with this company because I adore everything that this company stands for, their quality control, and the results of being able to activate our body's ability to produce its own glutathione is 1,000,000 times more effective than taking a supplement of glutathione. It's just a way more effective, efficient, simple way to be able to activate your health. Likewise, Protandim NAD reminds your body how to produce its own NAD. It's not a supplement of NAD. And these two together, if I had to choose a method for you to optimize your health every day, this would be 2 of the 5 things that I would choose, maybe 6 things I would choose. But especially on the days that you are going to consume alcohol, right? I actually take an additional Protandim NRF2 before I go to bed when I do consume alcohol, and I just am able to sleep. I haven't had a hangover in years, but I'm able to go to sleep knowing that I have invested wisely in making sure that my longevity, my health span, and the care of my body overall is really well taken care of. So those would be my two top recommendations for support activation to increase NAD, right? And to be able to reduce oxidative stress. So if you are interested in this conversation, if you would love to learn more about the different topics around midlife metabolism reset for women, I would love to invite you to my Facebook group. It's called Midlife Metabolism for Women. It's right on Facebook. I do host a monthly masterclass and question and answer inside the group, actually via Zoom, as well as a replay inside the group. And I really am passionate about helping you design a life that you love, that you never feel like you need to have to cheat on, because you're getting the results that you want and you're enjoying it thoroughly. There's so many ways to be able to accomplish both. You don't have to choose one or the other. So again, my name is Kim Jacques, helping women reset their metabolism with ease and unlocking the power of aging backwards naturally so that you can look, feel, and perform your best. Links are down in the description area of this video to both the Facebook group as well as to a downloadable guide and 3-day meal planner around kicking sugar to the curb. All right, have a wonderful rest of your day.